claiming it at our urban core. And we had to decide which building was going to be first, and the Caradco building was going to be the first building. And of course, very intentionally, the redevelopment of that building included nonprofits in the building that could share space and share resources. And I remember when I was hearing the sort of list of nonprofits that were going to be located in the Caradco building, I remember hearing about the Lantern Center, and I'd heard it before, but I wasn't aware of the good work that they did. So I became aware of what the Lantern Center was and the work that they do. And I'm so glad that I did, because one of my very close colleagues at ECIA in Dubuque, Chandra Ravada, is an American citizen, became an American citizen 2 years ago, and is very proud of that. His mother comes over from India every year for about 6 months and visits. And he said to me, Terry, my mother loves to come here, but she cannot speak English, and I don't know what to do. Do you know anyone who could help my mother learn English? And I said, as a matter of fact, I do. And I pointed him in the direction of the Lantern Center. And I see her picture there on Jo Lynn's photograph on her page there. And she's a lovely woman, but she loves her friends at the Lantern Center. So I was happy I had learned about it just in the nick of time. And you know, at the city, we talk about, oftentimes we're confronted by people from around the state of Iowa saying, what does Dubuque do? What's the secret sauce in Dubuque? Why are you successful as a community? And, you know, we talk about the fact that, you know, people, planning, and partnership, those are the sort of the secret sauce. What we learned through the 1980s and continue to develop and hone is this practice of engaging people, having solid plans, and always doing it in partnership with others. And we call that our secret sauce. And I think it is. But before I started working at the city, and I still hold this to be true to today, when people ask me what was the secret sauce in Dubuque, I said it was the 6 orders of religious women who are in Dubuque, because I don't think there's any other city that has that many mother houses and religious orders in the tri-state area as we do in the tri-state area. And I think it makes a difference to live around people who are dedicating their lives to living out their beliefs, in this case, you know, the gospel, the Beatitudes. And I think they've changed our community repeatedly for the better. And in this case, I have to honor the presentations. And I recently was able to pick up this book. So I'm going to do a shameless commercial here for Sister Paula, The Silent Voices in the Shadows. I don't know if you can see this book, but I've been enjoying reading it, and it is about her work with refugees. And so I just want to call out Sister Paula and the good work of the presentations in this case. And I do know that the other orders have worked tirelessly as well with people who find themselves a newcomer in a new land. And, you know, this isn't just a Christian belief. I mean, there are mitzvahs in the Jewish faith, and there are tzedakahs in the Muslim faith, in Islam, that, you know, doing good deeds and corporal works of mercy are critical to every community. But I think that's part of Dubuque's secret sauce. And I do want to recognize the presentation sisters tonight who were willing to take this mission on in our community, because it makes us a better community. So why are we here this evening? Tonight, we're going to share information about the important work of community building that goes on at the Lantern Center, the role the Lantern Center plays, about our volunteers who serve and opportunities to volunteer. And we're also going to learn about how we can all work together to continue this work as a community and as supporters of the Lantern Center. And finally, you know, we're really going to be, I think, both educated, informed, and excited to experience our guest speaker tonight, Billie Greenwood, who's dedicated her life to serving. And that's going to be a wonderful experience. And so moving on to learn more about the organization, first, I'd like to introduce Megan Ruiz, who is the executive director of the Lantern Center and has become a good friend. Megan?
Hi. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Terry. It was a beautiful, beautiful introduction for everyone. Thank you. And I love hearing the story of how the building that we're in was renovated years ago so that it can be such a lovely space for community members now. It's just bustling and lively down there. And I think of what it was when I moved here with my family a couple decades ago, and when it was all closed up and boarded up and just somewhere that nobody wanted to be. Now it is the place to be, and somewhere where I'm grateful and honored to get to go to work there every day. So, so I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about how almost all of us are immigrants or have moved at one point and another in our lives, and we all need each other. We're all interdependent on one another here on this lovely, gorgeous planet Earth that we call home. And again, almost all of us are immigrants. And so when we can reach into our hearts and remember, our foundations, our family backgrounds and histories as well, can help us relate to others who might be more newly here in the Dubuque area and whatever corner of the globe that you're joining us from tonight. And so I know that all of us at the Lantern Center and the volunteers and the students and the sisters who founded the center and the board, we all try to live by the golden rule and give each other a helping hand up, because as I said, everyone will need that at some point in their lives. And so I also wanted to put the spotlight on how immigrants help one another as well. So you all are here tonight as people who help immigrants and have a huge heart for immigrants, and you've donated your time and your money and your effort to, be here tonight. And by doing that, you help an untold amount of people. The center has helped over 1,400 adult immigrants since we started in 2002 from over 71 different countries. And so, yes, so the volunteers and the donors and the staff and the sisters of the presentation, we all help immigrants so much. But I want to say that they are so thankful and so grateful, and just the amount that they give back is, I feel sometimes, way more than what any of us could ever give to them. And for example, one of our students who works at a factory was given a turkey and a meal package, some groceries, both at Thanksgiving time and at Christmas time for his family. And he said, "We're fortunate. We already have the means to provide this kind of a lovely meal for our family. So I want to pay it forward and give this to another immigrant family who might be in a rougher spot than us at the moment." And so we've had that happen. And then over the last 18 months, there's been other families. There was a family who lost their apartment due to a disaster circumstance, and their apartment was ruined to no fault of their own. And they, other immigrant families heard about that, and they donated different furniture to them, a couch and a bed and clothing for their kids, and offered to give rides and things like that. There's just untold stories. I mean, every week you wouldn't believe just how grateful and thankful students are. And we are so lucky. We're surprised all the time at just the gratitude that that people have, and just the things that they do to show that. Just a couple of weeks ago, one of our students, as a thank you to a huge group of tutors who put forth lots of time and effort to help them study for their citizenship test these past 2 years, this family, this couple and their kids, they prepared an elaborate meal. It was literally a 13-course meal that probably cost a lot of money and just a lot of time to prepare. I think that she said she got 3 hours of sleep one night and 4 hours the next night, just preparing this beautiful meal to say thank you. And they hugged us with tears in their eyes and said, we haven't seen our families, so to speak, in 6 years. And we want you to know that you are our family at the Lantern Center. You're just like family to us. And so it's things like that you can be a part of when you volunteer at the Lantern Center, and when you donate to the Lantern Center, you can feel good that things like that are going on in your community. And we all need more positivity, especially these days, and optimism. And so thank you for contributing to an environment that fosters that every single day. And I also wanted to show you all a little bit about the center and our foundings and our mission. Some of you are brand new to us. There's some of the businesses in Dubuque who either didn't know the Lantern Center existed or knew very little about us. And there's a lot of college students, I'm told, from the social work department and other departments throughout the tri-state area that are joining us on Facebook Live. So if you haven't been down to the center yet, we want to give you just a brief tour of who we are and what we're about. And if you can't hear the sound that well, there's an automatic YouTube caption that you'll see across the screen too. So forgive the if there's any errors on that, but that's automatically generated. So thank you. So welcome to the Lantern Center. As I said, we're the Presentation Lantern Center. And so that means that we were founded by the Presentation Sisters. And the Presentation Sisters were founded in the 1700s by Nan O'Nagel, who was a brave teacher in Ireland. She taught Irish Catholic school children, even though it was illegal. And so the Presentation Sisters are a teaching order, which is why one of our focuses here is teaching. So fast forward from the 1700s to the 1990s, there were a lot of wars throughout the world, which resulted in a lot of people who were homeless, refugees. And so the Pope put down a special request to Catholics and asked us to focus on this verse in the Bible, and to specifically welcome the immigrant, welcome the stranger. And so that is what the Presentation Sisters did by building this center and other centers like it throughout the country. So our mission here at the Lantern Center is threefold. First is hospitality and to welcome immigrants. And second is to help people improve their English. And third is to help people study for citizenship. And so we have a lot of different resources that help people do that. We have 15 different electronic devices, from laptops to tablets to desktops, and we have literacy software that's really useful as well, online subscriptions. And then here we've got games and math, time-telling curriculum. We've got books of all different genres and levels of English. We've got some high-interest, low vocabulary books. And here we've got picture English dictionaries in, I believe, over 20 different languages, which are very useful to start off with. And here we've got English curriculum that's anywhere from conversational English to vocabulary to grammar and sentence structure, essay, pre-college, college curriculum. And then behind us, you'll notice the citizenship curriculum, which is history and civics and government. And I want to show you a couple examples of our tutoring sessions. Here is an example of one of our citizenship tutoring sessions, and where people study over 100 different questions about government and history. And they also study to pass a reading, writing, and speaking portion of the test. Here's an example of an English tutoring session. We tailor it to people's individual needs and their professions and what they really want to learn. So we have 11 tables like this throughout the center, and on a typical night, we're full and then some. We've got all 11 tables filled. And in 2019, we served over 100 adult students and 24 of their children that they would bring. And so what's neat about this center in particular too is that we have a child watch area. So people can bring their kids, whether they're infants through school age, and kids can feel comfortable over here playing independently, or sometimes volunteers might not be that comfortable tutoring English or citizenship, but they like to come and do, arts and crafts or read a book to a kid and things like that. So if you've ever learned another language, you know that it's quite exhausting. It's a lot of work. And so in the middle of our 2-hour tutoring sessions, we do have a 15-minute break, 10 to 15-minute break, which we call tea time. And people will get us a drink over here, water, tea, coffee, and then a snack, which a lot of times is an amazing homemade dish that one of our students might bring. And then we sit down at the tea time table here and we talk about news, current events, weather, public health, safety, all kinds of different things. And then, so in the 20 short years that we've been here in Dubuque, Iowa, we've served over 1,000 immigrants, and they've been from 71 different countries. And one of our adult immigrant students who was an engineer built this globe for us that illuminates the 71 different countries everyone's from. So thank you so much for joining me on the tour tonight. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a little more about the Lantern Center, and have a great day. Thank you.
Great. I hope that you all enjoyed that tour that we have done. And I am Jolyn Wall. I am the Director of Education here at the Presentation Lantern Center. And I just want to reiterate Megan and Tim's, just our deep appreciation for you all in the support that you give us and for taking the time to learn more about the Lantern Center. And it is just such an honor to be able to work here and to be able to see the world open up by meeting people from so many different places around the world. And I love it because at the Lantern Center, you can just tutor people and you can be a friend. You can be one of the hot phrases that we use is a cultural broker. So if as you listen to the presentation, as you listen to the work that we do and you want to become involved, I would love to help you become a tutor and, just help expand both your world and your friendships. So thank you all very much. And I'm going to let our lovely Sarah Millhouse introduce herself. We are a small staff, but it is an amazing team to be a part of. So Sarah.
Hello. So I started as a volunteer with the Presentation Lantern Center in early 2017. And the minute I walked in and the first tutoring session I had, I felt like I was so honored to be a part of a group that's really multicultural, which is vibrant and diverse. And when the opportunity came to work part-time at the Lantern Center, I jumped on the opportunity because I couldn't think of anywhere else that I would rather be a part of. Being at the Lantern Center is an energizing experience and an amazing learning experience, no matter what your cultural background is. Back to you, Terry.
Well, I just want to say again, thank you, Sarah and Jolyn and Megan. I think that here, I'll get myself showing again here. Thank you. But again, I just want to thank Sarah, Jolyn, and Megan. We're so fortunate to have the kind of dedicated staff working at the Presentation Lantern Center that make a difference in people's lives. So thank you all, and your experience and your passion make a difference, and I just want you to know that. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our esteemed president of the Lantern Center Board of Trustees. He is also the chair of the marketing committee, and he served as a volunteer for many, many years, and particularly as a volunteer youth tutor, as you heard earlier. He has worked with students from Syria, from South America, from Bangladesh, and many other countries. But I've known Tim and Mary Mouthart and their children for, I don't know, 40 some years or more, and also know them from that perspective. And I know that I was thrilled to reconnect with Tim here in the Lantern Center, because I know that Tim and Mary have a passion for service and have always had that. So now in retirement, we're able to benefit from his many talents and skills, but most importantly from his dedication to the good works of the Lantern Center. So Tim, thank you very much for being our leader, our fearless leader.
Wow. Well, thank you, Terry. Now you use the word esteemed, but most days I'm actually more like out of steam. Anyway, at the Lantern Center, we couldn't really support the immigrants we serve without the help of hundreds of volunteers and donors. This afternoon, we were blessed to be supported by many organizations and individuals who have purchased virtual tables or individual tickets. We don't have the time to mention all of you, but I'd like to give a shout out to the John Deere Dubuque Works and the BVM Sisters, who both purchased 2 tables. Also to Dupaco Credit Union, who have purchased more than 1 table. And plus other supporters that have purchased a table, such as Catholic Financial Life, Community Foundation of Greater Dubuque, Loras College, the Moss family, Midwest One Bank, the Mouthart family, the Sisters of St. Francis here in Dubuque, the Presentation Sisters, of course, Progressive Processing, which some of us know as Hormel here in Dubuque, Cindy and Douglas Raker, Peggy and Don Van Slocum, the U.S. Bank, and the Young family. To all these people and organizations, and all of you who bought tickets or made nice donations in response to this event, we really thank you. We need you, and we really appreciate your support. So, as Megan, Jolynn, and Sarah have said, the immigrants that we serve are like our own ancestors, bring a vibrancy to our lives and expand our horizons. For example, one of my students that I had at the Lantern Center was a professional from Syria who came to Dubuque with his family to avoid persecution or worse during the ongoing war in Syria. I helped him learn about some of the different American practices we engage in. I helped him improve his English, and later I helped him apply for jobs. He and his family have become good friends. We've shared meals and family celebrations together. I've come to really appreciate the strong Syrian coffee and many other delicious Syrian treats that they share. And now he and his family both have good jobs, and his family has been contributing to the benefit of nonprofits in our area here in Dubuque. So, a word to anyone who might be thinking about joining us as a tutor or a volunteer. Well, if I can do it as a retired engineer, you can do it. Also, the friendships that you'll make and the inspiring lives that they lead are really life-changing. Well, now, let's hear a video about what students have to say about their experiences at the Lantern Center.
Hi, my name is Ken. Welcome to Lantern Center. As being a volunteer here, I realized that the Lantern Center have great opportunities for interculture, and as well as we can communicate with a lot of another language and understand each other more.
Hi, my name is Julia. I am from Colombia. I love to come to Lantern Center because in this place I have the opportunity to learn English, to improve my English skills, but beyond that, here I have the opportunity to meet different people from different backgrounds. I have friends from here. So Lantern Center is not only a place to learn English, it's a place to develop yourself, to get friends, to enjoy it. That's all that I have to say about Lantern Center. I love it.
My name is Pedro Crispin. I just want to say thank you to the presentation Lantern Center. So I hear about this place. Some of my people I know told me about this place that helping immigrants like me, and so I just come to see what's going on. I was just curious, like what's going on with this place, and I found out like helping immigrants and come here. My English was not good. They told me about it. They have like people donate time to help them immigrants and also learn the language. So I decided to come, and I was working a full-time job, so they are kind of flexible with the schedule and time to help you out. That's really amazing. And people every time when I come here, like, oh my gosh, you can speak Spanish now. It's so excited to see not just Mexicans, and also people from Spain, people from Peru, Costa Rica. It's just amazing. This is a small place with a lot of people from different countries, and it's like everybody coming here to learn the language. And also they told me about the citizen, having to study for the citizenship, and I decided to take the chance because I was like waiting for longer to do that, and happened like just walk to here, and I got some classes. It was kind of like a game. I had wonderful experience with people, and they teach me good things, and I did my citizen test, and I passed it, so that was amazing. I just want to say thank you so much for people donating the time. It's wonderful. It's a bless to be part of this community now and help other people. This is one of the challenge every day to maybe you don't expect anything, but do a lot of things for these strange people. With always is like you walk to the door and like with a smile and say how you guys doing, and now they're kind of like funny. You walk in there and say hola, cómo estás, and make you feel home. And I want to say thank you so much again. But yeah.
My name is Juan Alvarado. I am from Panama. My experience here has been amazing. Ha sido una bonita experiencia. Gracias por sacar tiempo para enseñar un poco de inglés.
I love interning here. The people here are like amazing, and I love working with them.
Hello, my name is Omar Gonzalez. Being able to do my ministry here at the Presentation Lantern Center has really taught me the value of the help of somebody. I realized that as I help people here at the Lantern Center, it's really helped me to become more aware of what is going on around us in this world. And I am very grateful to do this as my ministry as part of Divine Word.
Hey guys, my name is Cedric. In the short time that I've been part of the Lantern Center, I found this place to be a great place to connect with other people and just grow in our understanding of the world. So I think it's a wonderful place to be.
Wow, that was inspirational and so much fun. I can't get the smile off my face. Thanks, Tim, and to the staff for that wonderful video. And I'm going to have to volunteer as a tutor as well as volunteer on the marketing committee, because that was just very powerful. And that's, the proof of the good work of the Lantern Center and its mission. And now I just want to say that excuse me, I'm truly humbled and honored to introduce tonight's special guest, Billy Greenwood. Billy has dedicated her life to serving refugees on the US-Mexican border. To our shared US southern border, Billy takes her knowledge of human rights and her personal passion to serve. Whether that service is offering a hot meal, a glass of water, or advice to migrants or asylum seekers. Billy began learning Spanish at the age of 50, and she has spent the past 15 years on the border, where she sees firsthand the suffering and the hope of refugees. Billy is a presentation associate and a Dubuque native, and she now resides in Davenport, Iowa, living and volunteering in a central city neighborhood during the spring and in the summer. And in late fall and winter, she lives on the Mexican border, crossing the border daily to help in a migrant assistance center. Billy puts into practice a life that many aspire to live. Billy's commitment to migrants and refugees exemplifies the words of Pope John Paul II, who reminded us, and I quote, "We hear the suffering cry of all who are uprooted from their own land, of families forcefully separated, of those who in the rapid changes of our day are unable to find a stable home anywhere. We sense the anguish of those without rights, without any security, and at the mercy of every kind of exploitation, and we support them in their circumstance. We are called to work so that every person's dignity is respected. The immigrant is welcomed as a brother or a sister, and all humanity forms a united family," end of quote. Please welcome Billy, and we look forward to your presentation. Thanks, Billy, for sharing with us tonight.
Thank you so much, Terry. That was a beautiful introduction, and I'm humbled by it. And I'm also honored to be speaking to everybody present here tonight on this virtual Lighting the Lantern event. I'd like to begin with a story. So the year is 13,000 BC, and the first human migrants to America are about to cross the land bridge between Eastern Russia and Alaska. But unfortunately, their navigator seems a bit lost. "Are you all right?" they ask him. "Yeah, I think so," he says. "I just need to get my bearings straight." Now, the problem with a Zoom joke is that you can't hear people laugh at that joke that I'm sure you could call it a dad joke. A bit of joke laughter in there for you, or feel free to groan. As Terry said, I live in the Quad Cities now, but my story began in Dubuque, my birthplace, or maybe more accurately, my story in Dubuque began before I was born. My mom's great-grandmother stepped off a Mississippi River steamboat to settle near Hanover, Illinois. And that's probably more accurately where my Midwest story starts. Now, what about you? As many have already indicated tonight, either you're an immigrant yourself, or you're descended from that migrant band that crossed the Bering Strait, or maybe you're descended from an immigrant like I am. So tonight we're going to focus on migrants and immigrants, and I'd like to show you a reason why the Lantern Center is maybe more important than you realized. I'd like to share some stories and images from the border, and then also reflect on how those stories affect us here in the Midwest. History shows that the United States has flourished thanks to immigrants. But you might not know that today there's a big shift underway because it's happening almost silently in America. According to this recent publication from a nonpartisan nonprofit group called Heartland Forward, this shift is changing the heartland of the country, the area between the Appalachians and the Rockies, shown in green on the map, in communities like Dubuque. Immigrants who originally settled much of this area came mainly from Scandinavia and Northern Europe, like my great-great-grandmother. But since the 1920s, immigrant newcomers have essentially dried up. As decades passed, local residents tended to leave, but few newcomers came in from the outside. Now, the shift is that over the last 10 years, the heartland's share of the United States foreign-born population has risen significantly. It's up from 23.5% in 2010 to over 31% in 2019. In fact, in Des Moines, Iowa, immigrant populations grew more than 40%, and that helps to reverse population decline there. Foreign-born populations are growing faster in the heartland now than they are in New York or LA. They have been the cities that have been known as historically to be hubs for immigrant residents. Now in Dubuque, the number of foreign-born residents is lower than the national average, but significantly the rate of gain has increased, and that follows the heartland pattern. This positions the Lantern Center perfectly. Its mission today is even more important now than when it opened as the only welcome center for adult immigrants in or around Dubuque. Now it can bring 20 years of experience to welcome this immigrant influx. And that's a positive for the tri-state area's future. And just as important, maybe more importantly, the hospitality it provides is life-sustaining to these people who sometimes arrive without much support. I know about the importance of support from my volunteering on the US-Mexico border. And as Terry told you 15 years ago, I began that. My husband and I were curious and we were concerned about reports about immigration down there. So we began spending months there each year just to learn and then to help migrants as best as we could. Being on the border gives me incredible access to migrants, immigrants, and would-be immigrants. Opportunities range from formal presentations to conversations while washing dishes together. I feel fortunate. But when people in the Midwest first learn about my border work, their initial reactions don't always reflect that I'm lucky. Sometimes they look surprised or maybe respectful, but often they respond with a cringe, looking worried, scared for me. To reassure them, I explain, I'm surrounded by fabulous people there. The other volunteers are tremendous. The dedicated humanitarian aid staffers are also amazing. And the migrants themselves inspire me every day. I might be serving 100 to 200 migrants a meal in a crowded room. And when I stop, pause, and look around, I realize that each single one of them is facing in that moment a personal crisis. Each one of them is far from home, has to carry everything they own, has no personal transportation. Many of them are also supporting children or elders. Everyone is hoping against hope and vulnerable, and yet all is calm. Everyone is pleasant and courteous. They present their personal needs humbly. I know this isn't the perspective that we get from the news, where migrants are depicted as invading criminal hordes. In truth, it's the opposite. Most days I return home from my day at volunteering touched and impressed. Like the day that this stranger in the crowd, a fellow who was over on the edges, silently crafted this flower from a palm branch, slipped up next to me, and without speaking a word, gave it to me. Another time, near the end of a help session, I was standing by the exit and suddenly a young woman hurried toward me with wide eyes, a huge smile, and outstretched arms. Dangling between her hands was a necklace that she'd just removed from her own neck. "You must have this," she exclaimed. Apparently, she was elated by the help that she had received, and she wanted to share too. I hadn't done a thing for her. and I didn't want to take what was likely her only adornment. But unsure in that moment how I could refuse without insulting her, I kept the necklace. I use it now to remind me what generosity looks like. As in the gospel story of the widow's mite, she gave me the loveliest thing that she had, and it's a heart. So I keep her spirit close. And in fact, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm wearing it tonight. The Migrant Assistance Center's administrator, Sister Cecilia, had a better control of an exchange that I observed once. A man who had received a pair of secondhand shoes from her lifted his outstretched hand up, saying, "I received these coins yesterday, and I'd like to give them to you." Sister Cecilia assured him that services at the center were free for all. But later I had to wonder, if I were hundreds of miles from home and far away from a safe destination, would I offer up the few coins I had in my pocket? Frankly, no. I fall short of that kind of generosity. Family values motivate many immigrants. They want their children to survive, to escape imminent danger and horrendous violence. And like good parents everywhere, they want their children to have some opportunity, some education, which we teach the migrants is a human right. We see loving family interactions constantly. 5 years ago, not everyone traveled with a cell phone. One of my favorite jobs was to offer to place free phone calls to migrants' family or friends back home or to where they were headed. One day, as a husband spoke to his wife in a Central American country, his little son scrambled up close and pressed his ear up to listen for a scrap of the sound of his mother's voice. Migrants' love of family is a value that strengthens the United States. When there's work to do, people pitch in, even though we're not paying them. The migrants I know are pleased to have a job. They want a chance to work. These photos show the intensity of focus and energy that they bring to accomplish the job. It's no wonder that hardworking immigrants comprise a major component of our nation's labor-intensive workforces, as seen on this slide. These are huge percentages. After 25 years in the United States, this undocumented farm worker was deported for driving without a license. When I knew Juan, he was working a low-wage job on the northern Mexico border to afford an apartment so that his 2 US citizen sons in Phoenix could occasionally make the 4-hour drive down to visit him. But then injured at that job, he had chronic pain, so he volunteered at our center in exchange for meals. He knew pain, exile, poverty, and his greatest trial was missing his wife and his 6 and 14-year-old boys. Yet, this is the one that we saw every day smiling and joking. We loved to see him arrive because his teasing and clowning around made our work days hilarious. You wouldn't know that he had a care in the world, and he never stopped until all the work was finished. Bravery and strength like Juan's is in so many migrants that I coined a name for this courageous tenacity. I call it grace under pressure. It's the magnificent ability to push through the unspeakable and continue. This impressive perseverance is characteristic among the migrants. It's said that the person who has a why to live can bear with almost any how. Many migrants find their why, their faith in their God. No matter how small the plan, I could say something as simple as, "See you tomorrow." Often the response I receive from a migrant will be, "Yes, if God wishes it." If God wishes it peppers all the conversations. Prayer before meals at the soup kitchen is as sacred a moment as is felt in any church. The room stills. Movement freezes, time stops. The migrants have little, few possessions, no assurances, many threats. They know in their bones that they need God. I've respected these values that I've witnessed. 2 years ago, it was my turn to put into practice what the migrants had showed me. My husband, Paul Allen, was my inspiration and partner in 25 years of exploring other countries and borders. 2 years ago, after a sudden brief illness, he died. Losing a beloved spouse is one of the hardest events of anyone's life. It was difficult for me to return to the border without Paul, but I drew strength from the example of the migrants. Surrounding yourself with good life teachers is a tremendous plus. I think immigrants are the life teachers that our country needs. Over and over, history shows that immigrants are a net positive. Immigrants bring skills, labor, entrepreneurship, and ideas. The money they contribute adds to our tax base, raising our standard of living. They fill jobs that Americans can't or won't do. Their customs and culture enrich the diversity that makes our country dynamic and exciting. And their children tend to achieve even more than they do. Hospitable welcome of foreign-born newcomers will keep all this goodness flowing. Unfortunately, our southern border doesn't welcome. It looks more like a war zone. This is how we look from Mexico. And it's worse on our side of the wall, covered now with rolls and rolls of razor wire. That's not a family-friendly environment or business-friendly either. Policies are designed to keep people out. And migrants are subject to criminalization. When I began this work 15 years ago, unauthorized border crossing was a civil offense, like getting a traffic ticket. Now, after years of escalation, it commonly merits a felony offense. Even legitimate asylum seekers, including moms and kids, are held in freezer-like conditions. When migrants are deported, we systematically rob them by issuing them a check to return their money that we confiscated, but they can't cash that check anywhere. So how do we change this course? First, you can help by speaking up. These days, Americans are less trusting of national leaders and more trusting of people close to them. Evidence suggests that people are apt to believe what their peers and family members believe. So in any group to which you belong, you are the messenger best suited to reach people on a subject like immigration. In addition to one-on-one conversations, it's important to connect immigrant and American-born neighbors and bring them into community together. Getting people involved in the Lantern Center makes transformative relationships happen, as we've heard tonight already. Providing that opportunity is another gift that the Lantern Center gives Dubuque. But often change is slow. As my husband Paul said, the journey is step by step, and you just have to keep repeating. It's a long journey, and we're not going to do it all today, or this year, or even in our lives. But that doesn't mean that we can't do what we can today. If you'd like to learn more, I'd like to recommend this book, Voices of the Border, as a source of personal accounts of migrants crossing the US-Mexico border. I watched the interviews for it take place as migrants shared their experiences with Sister Ingracia, a woman I consider a wisdom figure. It's easy to purchase this online, read it, and form your own impressions. I don't profit from endorsing this book, but the book's proceeds do support the Migrant Assistance Center where I've helped. As I wrap up, if you have any questions or responses after our Zoom session to what I've shared today, you can reach me at billy@borderpartners.org. But now I'd like to close with a reflection from Jesuit priest Greg Boyle. Let's remember and send light to all who are migrating. Borders are imaginary, human inventions, invisible from space. We are all one.
Wow. Billy, thank you very much. Wow, that was very informative and very, very moving. Thank you. And thanks for the many messages included in, including that we need to be responsible as well. And we have an opportunity to help change this. So thank you. I want everyone to know that we will take questions for Billy in the chat, and we're happy to ask those questions of Billy. Now, I do have a few questions here. And one is, Billy, are the immigrants who are hoping to cross to the USA upset that they have so little control over whether they can cross?
Yes, actually, I can answer that question. I haven't been to the border recently because of COVID, but I follow closely what's happening down there through my contacts and through social media. And yes, I received a press release just today. There's going to be a rally happening on the border. I'm just going to refer everybody to the Keno Border Initiative Facebook page for more information on that. But there will be, and Bishop Weisenberger is going to be down there blessing various migrant families. This is happening this week on Saturday, the 25th. So yes, they are very definitely upset. The measures that the United States have taken are probably illegal and are designed to keep people out, people who have a legitimate reason to seek asylum here. So it's a complex situation. I don't want I can't attempt to explain the whole thing. I'll just say a really good source of information would be the Keno Border Initiative Facebook page or website, KINO, Keno Border Initiative. I can put that in the chat. Was there another one, Terry?
Yes, Billy, there is another question, and that is, how do parents waiting so long at the border handle the stress of the trauma their children are facing?
Oh, that's a very good question. It's extremely difficult. I'll just read one quotation from that press release I referred to. What we're living here is not a life, especially for the children. They're just children, said one of the migrant women organizing this march that's going to be occurring this week. All we want is a little bit of freedom. It's just a really inhumane situation. People are being forced to wait in Mexico, people who really need help, immediate help. And in Mexico, they are subject to criminal gangs who target them. And there's cases and cases of kidnappings, rape, extortion. This is documented over and over again. It's happening because we will refuse to let people come in who really need a safe place to be.
Thank you, Billy. We have another question, and that is Title from Sarah, is Title 42 being used to deny people at ports of entry based on public health due to COVID, or is Title 42 being used more for those who cross unauthorized?
Sarah maybe knows the answer to this even better than I do, but as I understand it, Title 42 is being used across the board. And just to catch people up who might not know about this, I believe it was back in March of 2020. The United States says, well, there's a pandemic going on. Nobody can come into the United States. And the reason that people are a little bit skeptical of the rationale behind that is because at that time, the pandemic was worse in the United States than it was really in many other countries of the world. So it's seen by activists as being rather an excuse to keep people out, people who have legitimate reason to come into the country. So that's happening to all people.
Thank you, Billy.
Terry, could I interrupt? This might be a good time for us to tell people that they'll have a great opportunity, especially those on Zoom, to ask more questions. And we'll do that. In fact, we'll open up their microphones and videos or enable them to turn on those if they so choose to ask those questions. But I'd like to say, Billy, just what a heartwarming and informative talk. Gives me the chills, even though I've heard it a few times. Thank you so much for sharing your insight and your wisdom. You remind me of many of our hardworking Lantern Center volunteer tutors and cultural brokers people that have passed away recently. For example, Pam Miller, Elizabeth Gneiser, Elaine Lansing, and Larry Cruzy. We think about them every day, and we miss their positive and generous spirit. Well, I'll take the opportunity now before we go open for comments and questions to thank Megan Ruiz. Megan, of course, has worked so hard to make this event possible, and she does this every day with our students and tutors and volunteers. She has such a heart for the people we serve, and we're so blessed to have her. I'd like to thank Jolynn Wall, our education director, and Sarah Millhouse, our business coordinator, who worked behind the scenes to make this a smooth and successful event. And last but not least, I'd like to again to thank all of our wonderful sponsors and ticket holders who've donated, whose donations have helped us keep the lantern lit and serve our clients. I'm going to share my screen now and talk to you about how you might want to help the Lantern Center with a donation. So I'm doing that right now, and it's pretty simple. It's just two ways to do it, two real simple ways. We have a web page that you can see. It's simply thelanternCenter.org. You can go to the top of that page. There's a donate button, and it's easy as that. Or you could mail a check. I do that. I do both, actually. And it's to this address, 900 Jackson Street in Dubuque, Iowa, 52001. Even better, I suppose, is you could stop down at the center and see it live instead of on video and give us a donation there because you'll see a friendly face with Jolynn right at the front desk and others there to greet you. So if you'd care to, this would be a great way. I've also got that on the chat, so you could see what that address is and go from there. So at this point, we want to open it up so that all of you can give us your comments, questions, anything you might want to share, an experience you've had with an immigrant or a refugee. And this could be a comment or question to any one of us, and we'd really love to have you do that. For those people on Zoom, all you need to do is, share your video, they call it, share your video. That means your face on your camera, and also unmute yourself. And then you can either just listen or you can contribute. And Terry, maybe you could try to say,
and
well,
I would like to invite that there were two questions that have popped up though. Chuck Eisenhardt asks, Billy, many migrants and refugees have farming experience. Dubuque County has a food policy council. One goal they have is to find ways to make it easier for beginning farmers to get established by gaining access to land and capital. Is making that connection with immigrants something that communities could help with?
That's a program I don't know anything about, but it does sound very promising, doesn't it, Terry?
Yes, and it's something we could look into after this. I want you to know, Billy, if you haven't looked at the chat, you have many friends and admirers congratulating you and sharing their love, which is all appropriate and well-deserved. And Beth Kress had a question that is, what is the best way for individuals to support or help from home, if not in person at the border?
I would say there's a few good ways I can think of. Legislative advocacy is always, it's just critical. It just has to happen until people assert their will that we address the inequities of this system. It won't change. And I think most people do want to see it change and become more fair. So keep working on the legislative portion. I find that it's most important to get money down to the border. People like to send things and they can buy things down there. It's better to get the financial resources. They're just, the needs on the border are so great for finances. We have up here, I help in the inner city or the central city of Davenport, but even the poorest person here has access to so much more. I think the Mexico border between the US and Mexico is the longest borderline in the world that marks the greatest disparity of wealth, it's 8 times. So in the United States, we have 8 times more per capita than in Mexico. Check Voices of the Border for more accurate information. I'm probably misquoting them, but it's all in here.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions on the chat. If anyone would just like to unmute themselves and ask Billy a question or make a comment, you're welcome to.
Yeah, Terry, this is Chuck Eisenhardt.
Hi, Chuck.
Unfortunately, you can only see my face. It says I'm unable to. Video host is disabling my video, so I'm probably looking pretty scraggy. Anyhow, I want to say it's great to hear your voice again, Billy. Posted a comment there about my fond memories of Paul. One of the things that I wanted to ask about is there is a long history in every community, including Dubuque, of having people from all over the world reside here. And part of it is through the colleges and universities. Before I even graduated from college, I think I had met somebody from every continent in most countries of the world through soccer and through school. But I think over the years, we've kind of lost our habits or ability as a collective in this state to be welcoming to immigrants. Recently, however, both our governor and our U.S. senators said we should welcome refugees from Afghanistan with open arms. And so I'm wondering if there are opportunities with that specific situation for us to kind of relearn our welcoming habits and set up some systems and structures in our communities to integrate immigrants in our communities, that we can then in future years be more welcoming to folks from south of the border.
I think that's a really good observation, and I fully agree, Chuck. I don't know too much specifically. I do know that there are Afghanistan refugees down on the border in New Mexico's segment of Fort Bliss. And they are calling for folks down there to donate backpacks and duffel bags, because these people have only garbage bags to carry their belongings in to get where they're supposed to be going from that reception center at Fort Bliss. I think the needs are really, really pretty tremendous right now for these people that have just arrived from Afghanistan.
And I think the governor has said Iowa's willing to accept for resettlement up to more than 700 of these refugees. And I guess I just suggest for other folks in this call and maybe our own Lantern Center, what can we do to maybe, be part of that story?
Yeah, thank you. And we've been getting lots of calls and questions on that same exact topic naturally, since we're all absolutely heartbroken to see what's going on, and everybody wants to know how they can best help. I just put a website up for the Catherine McCauley Center in Cedar Rapids, the Cedar Rapids website. They also have a sister center in Des Moines, and they are an immigrant and especially refugee resettlement center. So one of the things they do is resettle refugees, and there's centers like that, like I said, in Des Moines and Cedar Rapids, and I believe Waterloo. So, I've reached out to them and said, we've got lots of volunteers ready, willing, and able to do whatever they can to, donate money, to physically go places and volunteer with people when needed. And so I signed up to be on their mailing list too. So kind of as I get information and directives from them on what they're looking for in the way of volunteers and funding and things like that, we will distribute that out to our email listserv. So make sure, that we have your email address so that we can get you that the next time that we get information. And, we know that there's a lot of refugees from Afghanistan who have been at least temporarily in the barracks in Fort McCoy, which is just a couple of hours away. And there's the Order of Franciscans that is there, and they've been volunteering and spearheading a volunteer effort there. And they did make known to us one opportunity a week or so ago, but they didn't, they filled up the volunteer slots and they didn't want us to make it too public. I was offered to put it on our Facebook page and send it to our email list of 900 people. And they said, whoa, wait a minute, maybe not quite that much publicity yet. We'll keep you posted as what we need. So that's where we're at right now. And then the Crossing Borders group that's been in existence from our own McCauley, Sister Mary McCauley of the BVMs locally, who started that years ago after the Postville raid. They put together a letter to make Dubuque make sure that our state government and our federal government knew that Dubuque is a welcoming city and that we do want to welcome refugees and immigrants. And so we put that out there with a lot of the trouble going on in 2016 to 2020, the laws that were being made and the barriers, the additional barriers that were being put forth for immigrants. So we put that forth, even though we didn't have a refugee resettlement center per se anymore in Dubuque, since it had to be closed, I think in 2017. It was part of Catholic Charities for many, many years, but had to be closed due to the number of refugees and asylum seekers being drastically reduced by the prior administration. So we've seen that number go up. So now hopefully infrastructure can follow that and catch up with that, and hopefully they'll be able to, we'll be able to all collectively welcome a lot more people a lot more quickly. So that's the little bit I know right now, but if anybody else knows more or anything, please share.
Thank you for that information.
Are there more questions? Otherwise, again, the chat is available if you'd like to ask one, but I do want to emphasize too, Billy's suggestion that advocacy makes a difference. We haven't had immigration reform in over 2 decades in this country. And, I sometimes puzzle when I read in the paper or hear in the news that we have a workforce shortage. I mean, we're a country of immigrants, and when immigrants aren't joining us and becoming citizens and benefiting from their labor and earning the respect, having the respect they deserve, I don't know why we're surprised. That's just my own personal editorial comment. But I do think that, there's opportunity there for us to advocate.
So Terry and all, I'd like to point out that on the chat right now is a comment from Karen, who talks about the Church World Services, and they have a Welcome Backpacks for Refugees project. They will have more information about that at the Hunger Walk in October 2nd in Murphy Park. It goes from 10 to noon. The Hunger Walk is just a wonderful thing, and I've done that. And anyway, that's another way to learn more about what we can do now to help refugees. So Billy, your organization, is there a way we can, do you have a website or Facebook page that you can share with us on chat?
Yes, I put in the chat the Keno Border Initiative, their Facebook page. Just put Keno Border Initiative into the search and on Google or on Facebook, and it'll come right up. It'll be the top one.
And how do you spell that?
K-I-N-O, Keno, K-I-N-O, and then Border an Initiative.
Like the gambling game.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Thank you. Thanks, Megan.
Yeah, thanks, Megan.
On the site here too.
All right. Back to you, Terry.
Tim, you're wonderful. Thank you. Are there other questions? I think Sarah has one.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Thank you.
No, that's okay.
I just, I'm so happy to be with you all tonight. So I'm Sarah Giesky. I was the executive director before Megan. I just got off of Goodwill at Goodwill. I'm a manager now, and so I feel like really sweaty. But it's good to be with you all, and it just hearing the stories and seeing your faces again, and hearing the stories especially of the immigrants, and hearing the stories of the interns and everything, and that whole piece was really wonderful, and it got me choked up, and I started crying. I'm like, I really miss it there. So the Lantern Center is a really special place, and I think, I mean, I knew it was when I was there, but now leaving there, and then since then I've lived in Colorado. I went down to the border and came back to Wisconsin, and now I'm in South Carolina. But it has, it's a really special place, and it's really exceptional. And I just want to encourage everyone, if you're just thinking about volunteering, Jolynn will work with you on your hours, like if it's just like an hour a week, that's okay. Maybe it's an hour every other week or something. But it's a really special place. And, it's thanks to everyone who's contributed, both volunteers, people who've contributed financially, the staff, the directors that have been there, people on the board of directors who have faithfully served. And I just wanted to say hello. And I'm still here. fighting for immigrant rights. I'm a co-president of the Low Country Immigration Coalition. Down here, it's a volunteer position. But just wanted to let you know that the fight goes on here as well. We have a big immigrant population in Hilton Head. A lot of them work in hospitality, in landscaping, in other positions. So keep on keeping on, and it's good to see you. And I had an opportunity to come and see the Lantern Center last month. So it was nice to feel home again. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I was bummed that I missed your visit. And I appreciate you keeping in touch with us. I've always been just extremely impressed seeing the updates of what you all were doing at the border and, you know, your hard work down there. And thanks for your work as executive director and everything. And congratulations as well on getting married recently. One of her friends had sent us an anonymous, a really generous anonymous donation in honor of their wedding. So I thought that was really nice. You must have directed folks there. So yeah, so thanks.
Thank you.
So,
That's wonderful.
looks like Art
Thank you,
has a
Sarah.
question.
Yeah, hi, Art Roach and Billy. So we met somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 years ago, I think. We just had the 20th, kind of the sad 20th anniversary of the founding of Dubuque Peace and Justice, which was founded on the night of September 11th, 2001. And shortly after that, I really expanded my world of meeting and getting to know lots of people in the world of peace and justice. So really, all I wanted to ask about is how your journey from justice and peace to what you're doing now. Maybe it's obvious, maybe it isn't. I don't know. It seems like kind of a natural progression, but you did it, I didn't. So, you know, how did that work for you? Just talk about that a little bit, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, sure, but I think, yeah, you're doing it, right, Art? Maybe.
Well, just another version of it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think I just kind of focused on this one particular area to kind of go in depth into the migration, immigration area. And there is a story about how that kind of evolved. Paul and I, we were both teachers. And so we kind of thought that when we retired, we would be working in some other country, doing sort of like missionary type work. And during our breaks for summer, spring break, times when we had a little bit of time off, we would go together and visit other locations looking for that perfect click. And we kind of realized that when you're in somebody else's country, you're a guest, you have to be polite, you have to put up with the injustices that you see, you can't really speak out against them. Whereas in this country, it's my country, I have a voice here, I can work for change. And frankly, from my perspective, a lot of the difficulties or problems that I see around the world, you know, the source might be right here. So we kind of liked the idea of working on the border where we could keep a foot in our own country, keep our voice strong, still be able to help people from all over the world who are coming here looking for help. So that's kind of how we got going on it.
Good answer. Thank you.
Thanks. Good to see you.
I am gonna just share a little bit. If people do want to volunteer, thank you so very much, Sarah, and all of your questions. Because the Lantern Center is a place that sticks with you. I know I started here as a UW Platteville student, serving 20 hours for a semester, and I loved it. And I wanted to create more of the Lantern Center because I think it's amazing. One of the questions that was in the chat was, how old do you have to be to volunteer here? To tutor, you need to be 18 or above. We do have high school students that can help us out. Maybe it's creating something for our literacy window or helping make copies or something like that as well. And so if you do have younger people that want to get involved, it is a possibility. It just, they may not be able to tutor one-on-one. And then I see that Izzy has a question, and Izzy is one of our Loris interns. So Izzy, what is your comment or question?
I am from my camera. I kind of had a question about what we could do like within the Dubuque community in order to like be more like welcoming and understanding of like the refugees that we may be getting from like Afghanistan or just outside of that in general. I'm currently a sophomore, so we're starting to work on like our honors project where we'll like start implementing something into the community in order to maybe benefit someone. So I was kind of wondering if there's something that we might be able to do here, like in the next like coming years while I'm a student here.
Mm.
Just if anyone has like any ideas.
So this is a time for anyone to chime in. Just unmute yourself, share your ideas.
Well, Izzy, first of all, thank you for thinking of this. And it sounds like if you have yourself and others who are a dedicated volunteer team putting together your honors project, I'm certainly willing to do some research with you to see what is available. I don't know what, Catholic Charities might be doing or other religious organizations. I'm not sure at this point in time, if the city would have any role. I know that there are 350 families the governor is working to settle in Des Moines, as Chuck mentioned previously. I mean, we brought this up the other day, planning and practicing for tonight with Megan, and she's doing homework as well. But certainly if we find out that we have people coming, it would be much better to be prepared and have a plan than to just react. So perhaps there's something we could do collaboratively with the Lantern Center to talk about what opportunities there are for having an honors project that would do just what you described.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. Thank you for volunteering that, Terry. Izzy, right before we had a field trip, if you will, scheduled in March 2020 to the Macaulay Center in Cedar Rapids for a variety of reasons. And we were also going to go to somebody's citizenship ceremony. But one of the things we're going to do is learn more about their refugee resettlement program. So maybe now that they're reopened, maybe we can, revisit that idea and go there and see what else they need, and maybe just collaborate with them since they are the primary resettlement agencies. So that way we can assist them in doing what they do best in their wheelhouse, and just figure out what their needs are and try to work with them remotely or travel there. Yeah.
So this is Tim. I would really commend Izzy and your group to, it's wonderful when younger people and, have the energy and the inspiration to do something positive like that. It really is heartwarming. It gives me more and more hope. One thing that I'd like to, changing the subject a bit, I wanted to commend a person that most of us know that is so truly, she's our founding mother, and that's Sister Corrine Murray. Sister Corrine was the person that helped me become a tutor and helped so many others. She started, it was her idea to do this in the first place. She did a study on, what is the gap that we have in Dubuque for serving others in, was it 2012? No, 20 years. 2001.
2002, we opened, and
Two.
in the late
Thank-
90s, you did the research. Yeah.
Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm not so very good at math, but she has always in every step of the way been so supportive and had such great insight. So kudos to Sister Corrine. I hope she can hear this or others can pass it on to her. So we have a few more minutes, but only a few. Let's wrap up here. Does anyone have something compelling to say that we haven't said? I'm not hearing that. Not hearing at all. I just wanted to just say thank you all for sharing your comments, your questions. Thanks to everyone who made this event possible, our speakers, staff, sponsors, ticket holders. We wish you all a good night, and may God bless you and your loved ones. Good night.
Good night. Thank you, Billy.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank
you,
you,
Billy.
everyone. And there is a book called, I'm going to try to find it, and I have that background, but it's The Middle of Everywhere by Mary Pfeiffer. And this book really does help to learn about immigrants and refugees and their experiences. So I would encourage you to read about this as we prep. I'm so happy to hear that there's a strong chance that we'll be getting Afghan refugees here as well. So I don't know if you can all kind of see that or not, but I did put it in the Zoom chat as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Jolene and Sarah. Thank you very much. And Izzy, thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Did a fantastic job emceeing, and thank you, Billy, for pouring your heart and soul into the presentation. I think that everybody, there was not a dry eye in the room if we would have had all the cameras on. So.
Thank you, Billy, from all your cousins around the country. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks, Billy, for all your work. You did another great job, as always.
Thanks, Mary Lou. Well, I'm off to the Justice Promoters meeting now. It starts at 6.
That's
So-
right. You got another, oh boy, in 1 minute. You don't even get to catch your breath. Well, thank you. Thank you again, everybody. For
Thanks,
joining.
everybody. Bye.
Bye. Hopefully we'll meet you in
Thanks,
person
Billy.
sometime, Billy.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Whoever
everybody.
recommended you, they did a good job.
Mhm.